I think we are the land that people run to because of who we are.
Yes.
If we weren't, then we would be Mexico. Then we would be every other country, and it would be fleeing from there to find another country that has the same freedoms America does. I think America works, and that's why people run to come here. Now, is there issues? Absolutely. I think Gary Vee said something recently is like, just because, say, the Dodgers won the World Series doesn't mean every Dodgers player on that team provided value to that team, right? And so in the same aspect is America for a reason, right? Well, that's why you came here. That's why you fought here. That's why you're still here. That's why other people fight to get here. And if we change that, well, then we're no longer America. We're just like every other country. And then this ceases to exist. And it'll be us running to another border to try and find some place that's happy that'll give us the same opportunities. I think we can't lose sight of that. Say that again?
Completely disagree. And I'll tell you why. People run to the United States not because of who we are, not of course who we are, a country, but because we're just better, like where to live, right?
We're just better,
more stability, more security.
Yes.
Like if people usually do not want to leave their home, they really don't. They really don't.
I agree with that.
Right?
I agree with that.
So for an immigrant, and I know this as an immigrant, for an immigrant to uproot themselves and go to a completely foreign land, there's more to that than America is the greatest country in the world. And more than likely, it's because their countries are, failing.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely failing.
And they came to the country that's not. We have to acknowledge that. You're not acknowledging the fact that
we have to acknowledge that. But see, why are those countries failing? If we are the most powerful country in history, and we are the most powerful country in history, then we also have a responsibility to make sure that we do not abuse that power. And throughout the last 100 years, the United States intelligence services have abused that power, creating instability everywhere in the world, including Latin America. And what ends up happening is that we destabilize those countries in order to have more influence in those countries, in order to benefit our money, our organizations. And then when those countries fail and those people run to the United States, we say, oh my God, it's because those countries are terrible and we're better. No, I mean,
not necessarily.
If we break Latin America, we shouldn't be.
I think those are very dramatic. Those are very dramatic speaking points.
Yes,
I agree. Yes, America has its fingers in a lot of areas and maybe has definitely helped destabilize some countries. Absolutely, I don't think America would deny that. Right? No. I don't think America would deny that. I don't think America's intention was that. But when you dabble in some other country, you really don't know how sensitive that ecosystem is.
Yes.
Right. And so I don't think I'm not oblivious to that. And I say this before, I don't want to use a time machine to try and make my now answer correct. Right. You can't use the time machine. Look, we've been doing this for hundreds of years. Well, currently, we're still the country that people run to. We're still the country that people come here to seek asylum. And when they seek asylum, they say, I love this country. It's giving me opportunity. Right. We are not the country that destroyed El Salvador, who's now taken control of their country back. We're not necessarily the country that's totally destroyed Venezuela. As much as people want to think that, we've had people that have their opinions of it. It's kind of divided. America did and America didn't. Whose opinion is right? I don't know. Right. And so what happened? Those are all
gangs that are ruling Honduras started in the United States, and they started through immigration policies.
And they were deported. Right.
Yeah.
That's a cause and effect. That's not something intentional. Right. It's a cause and effect.
It's a cause and effect. Yes.
Right. Exactly. And that is acknowledged.
So what would have happened instead of sending them over to prison? What if those people would have been rehabilitated and made into productive members of society? And
why couldn't they do that in their own country? They were deported because they were illegal, part of the system. So what is right by the legal system at that time was to deport them if they're not a legal citizen. Just because they're a gang member or not.
100% the laws of this country. Yes.
Yeah. And so
if you are illegal, you are deported. Yes. That is the how the law is set up in the United States.
And I think that's a law not necessarily 100% perfect, but it is bipartisan. What is a sovereign nation is a country that has borders and laws, and our laws we have to uphold. So what you were saying earlier is that the prisons that we uphold them in the prison, that's not necessarily, that's not what's been happening, over the past 2 years. They've
My
actually
question,
been, excuse me?
sorry, my question is, what is the purpose of those laws? Like, what is the purpose of deporting people, of making human beings illegal? Like, who's benefiting
Because a
from this?
country is a country based on its borders and its
Yes,
sovereignty,
yes,
correct?
correct,
That
absolutely.
that's how that works. And so
What is
because
the
of
end
that,
goal? What are we?
the end
How are we
the end
benefiting from that?
how would we benefit from gang members? I'm confused. Like, why would
I'm
we
not
hold
talking
on to that?
about gang members. I'm not advocating for gang members to come in here in droves. Nobody would ever do that. That's
Right.
unrealistic. I'm talking about what is the benefit of taking people who just want to work and live in peace, right? Labeling them illegal and kicking them out of the
I
country.
think you're
Who
stuck on the
benefits from
label. You're emotionally invested into the labeling of illegal, the term, but call them migrants. I don't care what you want to call them. If they enter outside of the port of entry based on the laws that are in place currently, they are illegal, just like I'd be illegally stealing something or whatnot. So the term is irrelevant. I think the term got pulled into an emotional argument, and now people don't like to be called illegal. Fine, you're a migrant who broke the law.
Okay,
It's
I'm
irrelevant
talking
what the term is, right? It's irrelevant what the term is. Why do we do it? Well, when you have a country that's bound by laws, like I said, a sovereign nation, you have to uphold some kind of law. And if we determine, hey, we want to know who comes in out of this country, and if you break that law, well, then you have to have a repercussion. And the repercussion is not to keep you in the country you broke into, it's to send you back to your country and give you an opportunity to do it the right way. That's just the way the country, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying that's exactly what it is. And why?
yes.
Well, this is a country that is bound by that. We have to have some kind of, or if you want no walls, well then you have no country and you have no laws. Well then America ceases to exist. The land of opportunity that people run to because it is safe doesn't happen anymore because anyone
Unless
comes.
they're from good countries and not shithole countries,
Well,
right?
and you think that who's gonna stop that? Who's gonna help funnel that one? Is it you? Can you look at
Hopefully,
20 minutes?
if I could have an if I could have an influence on immigration of
You're
this
trying to
country,
right now.
yes,
You have a
absolutely.
pedestal. That's what I'm saying. You
Yes,
have a pedestal and you're making an attempt to do it. But I
yes.
think you're missing bigger parts of this discussion because if you look at 100 people walking into America right now, how can I, with your eyes, see and say, that's a good guy, that's a bad guy? Oh, they're only here for work. They're not. You're not. You don't know how to do that. None of us do. Can accept them all and then hope to God they're all here for good intentions. But that's not the world we live in. We know there's outliers out there. We know there's bad people. You have kids, I'm sure. You want them to be safe.
I don't
You don't
know.
have kids. You have brothers and sisters. You have family. You want to make sure your parents, they expect to have a safe lifestyle for their kids when they raised you. Okay. And that's the same thing that every American deserves to know that this country is doing its best to keep their families safe, on top of still allowing legal immigration.